I love going to Cologne every year and meeting people, and this year I was told by a few that my videos help them to prepare for the event. So here are my tips if you're thinking of coming. The announcement that Cologne 2026 will be a major feels like great news for the event. It's recognition from Valve of its significance, not that it needs it, and it all but guarantees greater viewing numbers and sponsorship pull. But what about for the people in the arena? What will it actually change about the experience? Remember, this is an event that sells out every year already. It's one of the few Counter-Strike events big and established enough that it doesn't need to be a major to be so big and meaningful that winning it can make Donkall emotional. I did probe for information but was told to wait for the announcement, so I'm guessing we'll get to know the specifics when the tickets go live to be purchased, which could be September the 3rd if leaks within ESL's website are to be believed. But until then, we can only speculate about the activities, sponsors and format of the event. I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I want a return of the fun activities around the arena, because you will spend a lot of your weekend wandering about, getting food and drink and looking at cool stuff with friends and making new ones whilst doing so. Last year, Monster and Misc were at the event, which gave everybody free drinks for the weekend, which I thought was awesome. We also had those flashy wristband things, which really do add to the atmosphere within the arena. This year we still had some activities like the spray-on tattoo station and DHL's regular stalls and activities, and we saw a return of the bucking bull ride. But in past years we've had gladiator pits, VR experiences and the remote-controlled Mario minigame, all of which may seem unrelated or irrelevant to a Counter-Strike event, but they're the sorts of things that make it fun when the games aren't on. More of these, please. Oh, and bring back Balloon Guy as well. He made all sorts of cool sculptures out of balloons like guns and chickens, and all of these were flaunted on stream. When he made something for my girlfriend a few years back, it was the highlight of her entire experience. I guess Cologne being a major means it will sell out even faster and the tickets might cost more. The fact it will be hosted in late June rather than August means that the days will be longer. The weather will hopefully be better because so far every time I've attended in August it's poured down with rain, which makes the outdoor events and general nightlife experience rather soggy. But my hopes that it would coincide with Pride are dashed because it appears it will miss the main festival by about 2 weeks, which I am deeply upset about because that event transforms the entire city into an endless party and it's been awesome in previous years to be there while Pride is on. It also spawned 1,000 fun stories where people, both from the Counter-Strike and non-Counter-Strike events, walked into the wrong kind of party and it gradually dawned on them that they weren't where they thought they were. Tickets. There are various tiers of ticket. In the first sale waves, you'll only be able to buy 3-day experiences, but in later ones, hopefully you'll be able to pick up 1-day events as well. If I had to choose one day to attend Cologne for, then it would be the Saturday, since although Sunday is the grand final, it is just one matchup, whereas you get to see double the teams, double the games, and thus more chance of a great match. While with just one grand final, it could last all 5 maps, but it could also be just a quick stomp. In 2024 they also had a show match on the Sunday, which I always find to be a highlight because the casters all treat it quite seriously, but this year we just got a cool opening ceremony and then it was on to the grand final match. Friday tends to be the quietest day of the 3, so it's a bit easier to find yourself a seat in the arena if that's the one day you choose to see. But although quieter, this year even the Friday was still pretty full. Now when it comes to prices, I'm going by 2025's figures, so with it being a major, things might be different. But this year at least, the cheapest ticket was €100 for all 3 days in the upper ranks. This means that you'll be sat in the highest rows in the arena. The experience up here is actually quite good. I sat in a few spots up here this time around and this is what it looks like. There are drop-down projector screens so you'll get a decent view of the games, and you often get quite a good look at the lower ranks and the stage as well, but it can be quite distant. You spend most of your time watching the match and crowd, so it's decent, but binoculars might be worth it to get a better view of the players on the stage sat behind the screens if that's your jam. Weekend lower was €150 this year and it grants you a view like this, so you're a bit closer to the action and the stage and stuff, plus you get a good look at the VIP boxes and should be able to spot all kinds of people from the scene that you might recognise. Also, if sat here then you'd probably rather view the main screen than the projectors, since the main screen has much better image quality, blacker blacks and more vivid colours. It's like an upgrade to OLED vision when compared with the drop-down projectors. Weekend Level 3 provides similar seats. It's an extra €100, but it means that you get reserved seats. Why would you spend more for that? Because then there's no worry about having to get there hours early to reserve some seats. You don't have to worry about people nicking your seats, and you won't feel the need to camp out in the arena in fear of losing your spot. which could be worth it if you want to nip in and out between matches and experience the rest of the arena's activities, and it would be a shame if you didn't do that. And then for €500, you get the premium experience, where you sit on the ground level where the atmosphere is the best. Players walk through this area to reach the stage, you're in the middle of the arena, and most importantly, you get unlimited free drinks. I saw some people working out how much they'd need to drink to break even. I hope these people weren't entirely serious about that, but it certainly is a big perk of getting these tickets. And also, if you opt to spend €100 extra on a goodie bag, you'll get an upgraded one, provided you have a premium ticket. And then the last ticket option is God Mode, which is €1,400 per person, and it gives you access to a VIP booth where you can watch the game in comfort with really good food and drinks provided for, along with all manner of other perks. If you choose one of these with at least 10 people, then you can get a booth to yourselves. In terms of accommodation, I've stayed all over the central area of Cologne at this point. Across the river are smaller hotels which can often have someone at the door to let you in if you're coming back in the early hours. This area here is a very pretty district, full of restaurants and corner shops, and you'll find lots of CS players just sat around here in the mornings. And up here are the larger hotels. I've been staying here the last few years because it's easy to come and go from these, and they all have public lobbies where people just hang out and drink beers in the evenings. And the atmosphere here is really nice, and I've wandered into various hotels just for the lobby experience. And this gets us onto the nightlife. Now, I've never been satisfied going all the way to Cologne just for the arena experience, and what with the event starting in the mid-afternoon, it buys you a lot of recovery time should you like to party until the early hours and then to sleep in the following day. IEM Cologne used to host a large party with shuttles from the event, which I hope will make a return for 2026. If not, then there's the big party on Saturday nights, situated right at the foot of the cathedral, which is very loud inside and the drinks are expensive, though you do get free tokens if you come wearing big gear. At the end of the event on Saturday, I immediately walked over the bridge to get here, and I was one of the first in line. It takes an hour or two to get really busy at the event, but it does go on until the early hours, by which point it's filled with people and may or may not feature streamers and pro gamers. But I do find it quite loud, and it does get quite crowded. I personally like to take the tram to go to the Lost Level bar, which is a gamer bar with lots of consoles and stuff to do with other gamers, and I've never had a bad night here. This year we started here and then went about to the various pubs in the local area, and I really felt it the following morning. Just make sure you have enough phone charge to be able to Google Maps your way back to the hotel. Google Maps really is a lifesaver. Every year I struggle to get the train from the airport to the train station, and I'm not alone. This year I was with this poor person who was just as lost as I was. The train station at Cologne Airport is in a large concrete room and it looks symmetrical, so I'm never entirely sure which track the train will be arriving at. You'll want a ticket for the S19. You can get your tickets at the terminals just before you drop down to the platforms, and you can use these terminals in various languages including English, and a one-way ticket to the city is just shy of €4. And you're looking for the one that goes to Cologne. The two main stations are Cologne Misc, which is right by the arena, and the next one, should you not get off at Misc, is just across the river and is the main one, which isn't a bad one to get off at if you're looking to explore the cathedral and the prettier side of the city. For reference, I'd say it takes about 15 minutes to walk between the two, so it isn't the end of the world if you miss your first stop, though it is pretty obvious which one it is because you'll see the Lanxess Arena pass by you out of the left-hand window of the train. Once that's happened, that's when you'll want to get off to get to the arena. Money-wise, I've used cash in past years, and Germany seems better for that than most places are, but I'd strongly advise you use a card for the convenience. Check the fees, but with cards like Monzo or Revolut, they tend to have a free allowance abroad, which has always lasted me well. Thanks to Brexit, a lot of English SIMs don't have free roaming abroad. But one that I use is Smarty, which for a few pounds a month provides many gigabytes of free data which can be used abroad, and it has been essential every time I've gone. And the signal in Germany seems to be far better than it is in England. If you are travelling from abroad, then just be aware that you pay a tourist tax, which you tend to pay when you reach your hotel. It's not much, but expect to be hit with it upon arrival. I learned French at school. I've been to Paris once. I've been to Germany over a dozen times now, and part of me wishes I'd done German, although the other part of me realises it's pointless because everybody there speaks English very well, and even when I do try to communicate in German, they respond in English. And just know that if you keep your mouth shut, then nobody will know that you're a stupid tourist, unless you carry a massive camera around. For shopping, just know that on Sundays most supermarkets are closed. If you're trying to save money, then there are a number of Lidls and Audis dotted about in all directions. About 30 minutes walk from the arena, and they're a great place to get cheap food and drink. And it's become a bit of a pilgrimage for me to visit one of these when I reach Germany, just to scope out the local area and to get a taste of all the subtle differences that a German Lidl provides. When I'm there, I tend to get a few beers to bring to socials in hotel lobbies, and there's always someone happy I did. Wherever you go, people are lovely. I've gained a bit of a complex that people are only nice to me because they recognise me, but it was nice to not be recognised occasionally and just to discover that everybody's just that nice to everybody, even if I do only bring the cheapest beers to share. And that's my advice for Cologne. I hope it helps, and if it does, and you happen to bump into me at the event next year, then please say how I can make an even better guide for 2027. You're welcome.